Greetings, everyone, and Happy New Year. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Ogochukwu Chideberemweke, and it's a great privilege to have you, in this program. Now, over the years, I've been doing relationship consultancy, and there are just a few experiences I've picked along the line, which I would really love to share with as many people that want to listen. And so in this series, we want to discuss issues related to relationship, how you manage your relationship, and how you ensure that your relationship is sustainable. It is one thing to go into a relationship, find someone that you care about, someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with, but that is not a guarantee that you're going to have a good relationship. These things are learned. Choices need to be made. Decisions need to be made. So the whole idea is, for us to have moments of conversations, of learning. I'm not saying I know everything, but I can assure you that out of the experiences that I've had over the years, there are so many information that I'll share with you, which you will pick out and will add value to your relationship and to your life as well. A lot of people, expect you to have a good relationship, be a good husband, a good wife, a good father, a good mother. There are just so many things that people expect you to be. But the question is, are we prepared to actually be the things that people expect us to be? Now, some of the times when you connect to people, you notice that there are one or two things that people would usually say, you're too old for this. You are old enough for this. Or you're too young for this. It means that there is a right time to be something. And it also means that at a certain point of your life, there are certain expectations that people have of you. And so you get to a certain age and people say, you should be married by now. That's what they say. But the question is, are you ready? In our society, in the pre-colonial African society, and permit me to speak from the African perspective just for a few minutes. In the pre-colonial African society, people will say to you, you're old enough to be married because you actually go through a process as you're growing up that prepares you to become married, whether as a man or as a woman. So we go through the puberty stage, we go through the initiation, and in the process, you are taught quite a number of things. You're taught statesmanship, patriotism, how to be a good man, a good woman, a responsible person. You're taught all these things before you even plunge into marriage. And so by the time you are at a certain age, you have enough information to plunge into that experience. But things have changed now. It's no longer like that. And these are the realities. And so you have someone that is 25, 30, 35, and people say, you should be married by now. The question is that person ready? Most of the times when people say, I'm not ready to be married, they're actually talking about finances. Because as far as they are concerned, when you're talking about a relationship, it is, capital intensive, if I may say that. It's just about how much is it going to cost? Do you have enough money to take care of your wife? Do you have enough money to take care of your children and all of that? But is that what it takes? Is that all it takes? Okay. Now think about this. When you go to build a house, or you say, I'm ready to build a house, okay, before you even begin to put blocks together, get the concrete and the sand and all of that, you need to get a piece of land. And when you're going to get a piece of land, there is a mindset and a projection that you're supposed to have. Now, while you're developing, that projection, you need to make sure that the kind of house you want to build is the kind of house that will fit into the land that you have bought, or the land that you have. You cannot decide to build a skyscraper that is going to have 200 levels, if I may say that, on a 100 by 70 piece of land. It's not going to work. And so you see that you're making projections, you're making plans, and all those things you're doing are based on what you know that you have. Then when you finish that, you need to plan. How many rooms do I want to have in this building? Can I afford it? What kind of foundation will I need to be able to achieve that? While you're doing that, you are preparing yourself. Now, that's how a relationship is. Okay, that's how a relationship is. So when you want to build a house, the first thing you need is not, oh, okay, let me get sand, let me mold blocks, let me do this, let me do that. No, you need to have a projection. You need to have a mental picture of the kind of house that you want. But while you are having that expectation and making those projections, you need to make sure that the kind of house you want to build is consistent and will be suitable within the space that you call your land. If not, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. And that's how it is with relationships. And so for me, one of the things I like to share with people when it comes to relationship is that the first thing you must do, even before you begin to think about whether this person is good enough for you or any of those things, is to know and understand yourself. The knowledge of self is so important when you think about relationships. And it is something that a lot of people do not pay attention to. Now, for everyone that is listening to me, whether you're married or not, you will come to discover, especially if you're married, you'll come to discover that there are so many things that you actually did not pay attention to when you were getting married. And if you are not married, this is an opportunity for you to prepare yourself properly and make deliberate decisions about what you should expect and what you should do. Now, I was talking about the knowledge of self. Quite a number of times, people don't pay attention to who they are. People actually do not even know who they are. And when you don't know who you are, it's a very clear indication that you do not know who fits into your life. When you don't know who fits into your life, you're setting yourself up for problems. I can tell you for a fact that there are relationships that fail not because the people are bad. I actually do not believe that, people are bad or wicked or this or that. Because the very person you're calling wicked, the very person you're calling bad, the very person you're calling mean, somebody else somewhere thinks the world of that person. And so the moment you don't know who you are, you don't understand your thresholds, you don't understand your realities, you don't understand the things that you've been through, you don't even understand, your disposition towards life, the mentality that you have. You just bring somebody into your life merely because that person is beautiful or handsome or wealthy or any of those things. One of the things you're going to realize is that when the flaws of that person begin to manifest, you begin to have struggles. When you speak about who you are, it's not about what you're known for. Many people, when they think about who they are, they think about what they are known for. So it's a tall, fine guy. It's a beautiful woman. He's the daughter of this person. He's a lawyer. He's a doctor. He's a singer. But that's not who you are. That's what you're known for, because that's what you do, or how you look, or what people think about you. But that's not who you are. That's not who you are. It's important that people know who they are. The other reason why it is important to know who you are is that you need to also make up your mind who is coming into your life, because that person that is coming into your life is the person that you're handing your flaws over to manage for you. There are people who cannot manage your flaws. And quite frankly, there is no human being on the face of the earth who doesn't have flaws. Okay? Now, imagine a society like the United States where people actually marry prostitutes, strippers, pornographic actors and actresses. It's not a big deal. Imagine the African society, at least where we are right now. I don't think there's any man here that wants to marry a stripper. You see what I mean? So these are realities. Okay? These are realities. Now, when you don't pay attention to these realities, you shoot yourself in the foot. So, who are you? We all come from societies. We all come from experiences. We are products of the good choices and the bad choices that our parents made. When our parents said, oh, it's okay, he doesn't have to go to school if he wants to be a businessman. See? Or let him go and play football. Must you go to school? Or he must go to school. What do you mean he has to do business? Let him go to school. He doesn't have to be a musician. He doesn't have to be an actor. He doesn't have to be a doctor or a lawyer. Oh no, I want him to be a priest. Decisions were being made. But some of those things now became the experiences that we are meant to have. Because quite a number of times, It could be that the parents were just trying to satisfy their own interest and were not paying attention to what the child actually wanted. They were not paying attention to the gifts of the child. A lot of people had those experiences. Okay? Now, in the process, you have become a product of the good choices and the bad choices your parents made. Some of the times, our parents also, out of the ambition that they had, made choices that affected us as kids. Okay? So the man thought he would be able to win election and invested all his money in politics. He loses the election, he's unable to recover, and the life of the children just take a nosedive. They change school. Some of the times they might not even be able to afford their school fees anymore, and everything just changes. These are issues. Some of the times you have parents having misunderstandings, and in the process of the misunderstandings, maybe it becomes an abusive relationship or the people break up. And when they break up, there are children involved. It affects the children, it affects their mindset, it affects their mentality. They are traumatized, they are bitter. That's who they are. Those are the issues that they are dealing with. So some of the times you hear a young lady say, I will never allow any guy treat me like that, but you don't know where she's coming from. A guy says, I will never allow a woman talk to me like that. You don't know where he's coming from. But these are all products of experiences that people have had. So there are traumas that people have not healed from. You go into a relationship with them, the challenges of those traumas become your challenges. The bitterness from the experiences that they've not healed from become an issue that you also need to deal with. That's who you are. And then there's also the issue of the traits, which I love to call the genetic signature. The fact that you come from a certain family means that it is very likely you're going to behave in a certain way. These are realities which people do not pay attention to. And so when you do not pay attention to these things and all you're saying to yourself is, oh, once we love each other, it's going to work. It's not true. It's not true. Most of the relationships that have broken down, when you look at the people, sometimes it's so difficult to believe that these two people can actually break up. Because there are a number of things they were not paying attention to. And one of the fundamental issues that they were not paying attention to is the knowledge and understanding of self. I do not think that there is anybody that cannot be lived with. The thing is, are you the person to live with that person? That's the question that you must ask and answer. And that is why I say that it's attraction. Attraction is one of the worst reasons upon which you can plunge into a relationship. Attraction is good, but attraction should not be the reason. You make attraction the reason, there are so many things you're not paying attention to. And if you're not paying attention to those things, you suddenly discover that attraction does not cut it. Attraction, feelings do not sustain a relationship. Love by itself is not even capable of sustaining a relationship. And so, when you see someone, you are attracted to the person. It is not the time to act. It is not the time to say, I've got to make this move. Oh, she's very beautiful. Let me make the move. Oh, he's very handsome. If he asks me to go out with him, I will. See? But attraction does not cut it. When attraction happens, it gives you the opportunity to get close to this person. Have a conversation. But when you're having those conversations, let the target not just be, I want to go out with this person and make her my wife, and I'll be happy to be his wife, or any of those things. No. The first thing you must do is to know the person. And you know by asking questions and observing. That is something that people don't do anymore. And why do I keep bringing up the fact that people don't do it anymore? You see, we came into a time and a season where it looked like our parents or society was not paying attention to some of the things we needed to learn, some of the things we needed to know. And we are being called back through this seminar and other encounters that we're going to have to start thinking about the right things. And so even in the course of this discussion, there are certain words that we're even going to break down and truly understand in terms of what they actually mean. Okay? So you are having this conversation, but while you're having those conversations, you have an intention. That intention is, I want to know this person enough to be able to make the decision as to whether to be with him or her or not. It's very, very important. So you're listening to the person, you're asking the person questions, you're checking the person's demeanor when you raise certain issues about family, about business, about relationship with other people, about what the person's aspirations are, about the person's temperament, all those things, because they are very, very important. We make the mistake of saying love is blind, so it's not easy to notice some of these things. It's not true. Love is not blind. People in love suddenly become hasty. And when you become hasty, it is very costly. It can cause a lot of issues for you. Okay? Because when you're hasty, you stop paying attention to some of the things that you should pay attention to. And some of the things that you need to notice, some of the things that you need to understand. You don't see them anymore because you're not paying attention. Okay? So it's very, very important that in the course of this discussion, I would like for you to ask me, questions. You can bring up any topic at all that bothers you, that is important to you. Okay, let us talk about it. All right, let's talk about it. I am happy to answer the questions. I'm happy to address the issues. But one of the things I need for you to know is that attraction doesn't cut it. Attraction should not be the basis upon which you make a decision to be in a relationship. And remember this, feelings come and go. Ask the people that are married, okay? The way they felt on the first day is not the way they are feeling right now. And the other very interesting thing is that even when the feeling is restored, or when the feeling comes back, it can go again. Anything can make the feeling go. Transition can even make the feeling go. A new job, a misunderstanding, the fact that you're under pressure about something, anything can make the feeling go. These things happen. Okay? So it's very, very important that a decision to be in a relationship and ultimately marry someone must be something that is stronger than a feeling. Stronger than a feeling. You might love someone so much, but you might not be able to deal with that person's issues. Okay? And in rounding up, while I wait for the questions to come, I'll tell you this, and I'll tell you this very importantly. Most of the times we bring dogs into our lives and expect them to behave like goats. That is the foolishness of life. And this is something that happens to people in relationships. So you see this very beautiful woman, or you see this very handsome man, and you say to yourself, oh, you're just imagining how beautiful the marriage is going to be, how he's going to carry you, over the threshold, and all the beautiful songs. You guys visit the Table Mountain in South Africa, and everybody is just happy and all of that. But no, the true test of love is in the storm. The storm can be a misunderstanding. The storm can be the fact that this person is not feeling well. The storm can be the fact that the flaws are now manifesting. The storm can be the fact that there are excesses and weaknesses that are now manifesting. How do you deal with it? Okay? So, just think about it so that we can take up the right issues, address them, and make the right decisions for our future and for our lives. Thank you so much.
So good afternoon, sir. My name is Uche Mabese. I'm from Anambra State of Nigeria. And I have a question that is very important to me as someone from another culture who is living in another culture here in Ghana. So you mentioned something about someone coming from a particular family and the possibility that just being born into a particular family would affect the way you behave.
Yes.
Yes, so I am trying to link it up with the discussion I had with a friend today. That love, of course, in agreement with your initial statement, is not enough. And for us, especially as Igbos from Anambra State, we link longevity in relationships to the ability to show up and act up in opportunities that will call for a certain obligation. For example, marriage of a sibling, death of a parent, and the rest of them. That it's not all lovey-dovey, and you should be able to be mature enough to handle some obligations. Now my question is this: should there be a thin line between that and stereotypes? where we generalize assumptions and expectations because someone comes from a particular place. Should we expect people to behave in a particular way because they come from another place and they are born into a particular family? Is it something we should consider? Especially from my own part, as being a bachelor who is intending to marry in a very short while from now.
Okay.
Is this something we should consider?
Okay, so when we speak of stereotypes, there's something a bit negative about it.
Yeah.
But there's just something you need to know, or things that you need to know about people before you go into a relationship with them. I'll give you an instance. Now, an Igbo man who grows up in the United States, much as he is Igbo, will most likely pick up a few traits that are typical of Americans because that is where he socialized. And so it is very, very important that he learns his culture, knows his culture, but you cannot remove that very important aspect of his life from him. So it will be difficult to just put it on stereotypes, and that is why stereotyping is very dangerous. I have this concept that I refer to as the concept of the area codes, where people grow up tend to affect how they behave because it is a function of their socialization. That is how they build their mindsets, and have their mentality. Some of the times these things could be a bit negative, but these are realities. Okay? So imagine, since you're a Nigerian, let's use the Nigerian scenario. Okay? Now, one who grows up in Lagos, even though he's an Igbo person, might not behave completely the same as an Igbo person that grows up in Onitsha.
Yes.
You know that. Yes. That is why it's very dangerous to stereotype. And so you're looking at an Igbo person that grew up in Lagos, and you are assessing that person based on the experience you have with an Igbo person that lives in Onitsha. It becomes a problem. See? So it's very, very important to pay attention to where people are coming from. And when I say where people are coming from, it's not just about parents. It's also about the areas and the environments where they were socialized. It's even important to know where they went to school. You see, when you want to do business, you do a lot of feasibility studies to make sure that whatever it is you're plunging into is going to be successful. But we don't do that when it comes to relationships. See? And it's very, very dangerous. So when this person is an Igbo person that is growing up in Ghana, I can tell you that there are certain things you need to pay attention to. Because the person studied in Ghana, lives in Ghana, made Ghanaian friends, learned some things from Ghana and from Ghanaians. You cannot ignore that, because when you do, you will have unrealistic expectations of the person. It is also dangerous when it comes to the stereotypes. So you say Igbos are like this, Evers are like this, Fantis are like that, see, Ashantis are like this, but you will not be completely correct. So it is important to know someone on the merits of their socialization, of their background, of the family unit that they come from. I can tell you for a fact, it's not every Igbo parent that, behave the same. Of course, when it comes to disciplining their children, it's as if it runs in the DNA of the Igbo mothers, the way they spank and the way they, But those things might not count and become the very basis upon which you assess every other relationship that you go into. It will be very, very dangerous to do so. So I don't agree with stereotypes, but I think that it's very, very important to pay attention to area codes, where people grew up, the socialization they had, the kind of parents that they had, the mentality of the parents, because all these things will characterize their upbringing. That's what we need to know. Yeah. Thank you. Remember that at some point I was talking about flaws, weaknesses, excesses. Now, some of the times people act like they don't have control over the actions they take. It could be a function of the genetic signature. It could also be a function of their socialization. People that grew up in environments where they believed that the only way you could get anything is through the survival of the fittest. There's a certain attitude they have when they approach issues. There's a certain mindset they have when it comes to resolving conflicts. Then you also look at issues of the genetic signature. Most of the times you notice that One from a family where people, where you have people that have a lot of temper, it's very likely that one or two of the kids are going to pick it up. These are realities. So when you say to the person, I don't want you to do this anymore, it's a good thing to say. But people do not change merely because you tell them, don't do it anymore. Okay? They change when they see the need to change. So the first thing you need to pay attention to is this a flaw? Is this a weakness? Why do the people respond like that? That is why it's very, very important to know the people you're going into a relationship with. The people will not change because you want them to change. Some of the times, the answer to the situation or that challenge would not be for the person to change. The answer is for you to adjust. Okay? The answer will be for you to adjust. What do I mean by adjusting? The first thing is that now that you know that this person is like this, you expect those reactions. And that is one mistake a lot of people make. You keep expecting that this person is mature enough, intelligent enough, to act differently, because you're not paying attention to the flaws, the weaknesses, the excesses of these people. That is why I said, don't bring a dog into your life and expect it to behave like a goat. See? So when you know the person very well, there are certain things you easily anticipate because you know what this person is capable of doing. And you know whether or not this person is capable of loving you the way you want to be loved. See? So there are people that will never stop shouting when there's an issue. There are people that will never stop screaming. There are people that might never stop being rude. But it doesn't mean they don't deserve to be loved. Question is, are you the one to love them? We must be deliberate about our relationships. And that is why I also like to talk about thresholds. When you know this person and you know that this is how this person behaves, advise yourself. But don't say to yourself, oh, if this person loves me, they'll change. I believe we love each other so much that this thing is going to get better. It's not true. You're not being realistic. You're not telling yourself the truth. So what you need to do is, this is how this person behaves. Can I deal with it? That's the first question you must ask. Not whether the person can change or not. Can I deal with it? What's my threshold? How much of it can I tolerate? How much of it can I stand? If it gets out of hand, how will I react? What will I do? You ask yourself these questions so that it helps you determine whether you can be in the relationship or not. There are so many women that are in abusive relationships today because they never asked themselves those questions. They just said, we love each other. And even men, they're in abusive relationships, but they say, oh, I love her enough, we love each other, so it's okay. It's not true. So you need to be able to tell yourself, you know what, my feeling for this person is very strong, but this trait, I'll either kill her one day or she'll kill me. So I need to move on. Or, I anticipate this behavior. I understand that this is how this person is. I understand that maybe it's possible that this person might change. It's also possible that this person will not change. These are the realities of life. If the person does not change, will I hold on? Will I keep at it? Will the person get worse? What should I expect? Okay? So you discover that so much of the relationship depends on you. So many times we are looking at issues of reciprocity. So I respect you. You should respect me. It doesn't work that way. The fact that you respect the other person does not mean the person is going to respect you. Okay? And so what I also recommend to couples is build traditions. Build traditions. Speak to this person and say, these are the things we shouldn't mess around with. And see if the person will honor those codes. If the person doesn't honor the codes, advise yourself. That's the part we also do not pay attention to. Advising yourself that it's time to move on, that it's time to walk away. I say to my friends that a broken relationship is far better than a broken marriage any day. And so when you see those traits, walk. I see women who are in relationship with guys who don't respect their sisters or their mothers, but believe that the guy loves them enough to respect them. You're joking. He just hasn't had the opportunity to treat you the way he treats his sisters. And when that opportunity arises, you'll discover that that's the way he treats women. Do you see? And so the other thing it's going to do for you, and this is me rounding up on that question now, one of the things it does for you is that you stop seeing people as they hate me. Why do you hate me so much? Why do you not respect me? The truth of the matter is that even if it wasn't you, they will still behave like that. That's an issue they have. That is something they are dealing with. Okay? So if the scenarios were to change, but they are still in the picture, they will behave like that. When you see it that way, then you see it's not about you. It's affecting the relationship, but it's not about you. So if you want to help and you think that you love this person enough to add that value, go ahead. But once you reach your threshold, please walk away. If not, you're just going to destroy lives and you'll never be fulfilled. Yes. So emotional intelligence is more about you and not the other person. You can make recommendations, but it doesn't mean that your recommendations will be accepted or followed. People don't change because you want them to change. People change when they see the need to change. Okay? Yep. Please. I always say to people that yes, money is very, very important, but planning is more important than money. And also, knowing the person you're in a relationship with and yourself is very, very important. Okay? So, you will never have enough. You will never have enough. But there are people that go into relationships understanding where they are. They say to themselves, we can start small. There are people that are happy to start with a room. In Ghana we call it chamber and hall. In Nigeria we say room and a parlor. Okay? We can start with that, and then we can move to a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, a duplex, as we continue to progress in life. But there are other people that say that will never happen. I'm going to wait. How long do you want to wait? And who says that you need money to achieve all those things? So it's about being realistic again. It's about the mentality with which you approach relationship. It's about your socialization. It's about what you want. What do you want? There are some people that say, I want to start off life with living at Trasaco. It's fine. Can you afford it? What will it cost you to achieve? These are all very fundamental issues. You see? So you really don't need all that. The first thing is have a conversation with the person you're in a relationship with. And have a very realistic conversation with the person. And say, this is what we have. How do we start life? What do we project as our ambition? Then when you think about that, you know what you need to do and how you need to spend. The other thing I need to say is that we lay too much emphasis on the wedding day without paying attention to the marriage life. Okay? The wedding day is a ceremony. The marriage life is the real deal. So people say we're going to spend 50,000 Ghana cedis for our wedding. How does it affect the marriage? It doesn't affect the marriage. The wedding is just people coming to be witnesses, and then you enjoy yourself and go. Okay? And then the other reality is the actual wedding does not cost money. So it's just you trying to show off. And when you're done showing off, how does that affect your relationship? How does that affect your marriage? So people should spend more time being prepared for their marriages and not for the wedding. Okay, so where are you going to live? What are you going to start with? What job do you do? And all of that. Those things are more important questions. And then, of course, you pay attention to your family backgrounds, and what the expectations of your families are. And if your family is also very sincere, they will help you and guide you in what to do. Sincerely, there is nothing wrong with starting small. Yeah.